Right guys, hello everyone, welcome to week 2 Who's Right video. Today we'll be discussing with Nick who is right about the topic of the week. So you've been watching the other videos and you saw that there's a theme coming up called imagining animal instead of rational animal. So when we think about the future, when we try to think about the future, I wanna focus on the imagining feature of the animal that is distinct from AI, right? So AI cannot imagine, but human can imagine. And I think we should be thinking about the future through our imagining side, in the sense that we can give different possibilities to different scenarios, and we can predict what scenarios might be right, what scenarios might be wrong. We can't know for sure, but I think imagination will help us here to create different future scenarios, right? Like in the fictional books, right? They create different scenarios and they go with different paths. But Nick has different idea here.
I do indeed. Furkan, this is all lovely and wonderful, but let's get real. We can use reason to predict the future. We have the data, it exists. So when you're entering what seems to you to be an uncertain future, you have to find the expert who knows the data, and maybe in the future, for now, that expert is not a machine. Maybe it's a human, but let's look for a future where that expert could be a machine. And the awesome thing about that is humans tend to be expensive, and the cool thing about machines is once you buy it, you've paid for it, and just make sure it doesn't break down. So yes, that's the future. And machines are great at crunching numbers. They can really tell what will happen. They can predict humans.
Well, I don't think the same, Nick. It's because if you only rely on this machine or these experts, they will give us all just the same scenario about the future. They will just say this will happen in the future, and that's what the data shows. But we know from history that data does not always show what will happen, because human, as we create the world in the history, we imagine different things, and sometimes unexpected things happen. And in order to predict those unexpected things, we need our imagination. And I don't think AI can do that.
Well, thank you. Right. So maybe we're stuck with our imaginations for the time being, if I read you right. But we just need a bigger machine. So it's just a matter of getting enough data. I mean, have you read about those data centers, the AI data centers? They can take huge quantities of data. And so right now, I guess I have to ask a human who will probably tell me what they think. But can't I just instead spend some time on a machine, get the answer, and then just proceed into the future with certainty, and just not have someone's opinion?
Well, I think there's a danger there, because let's say we use this huge data in the machine to predict the future, and then what we'll end up doing is we will try to prepare for that future. And what we'll do, from what we know from What If is Complex, is that we will prepare that future because we know that data shows that. But what I want is imagining different possibilities of future and trying to create that imagined possibilities instead of trying to push the world towards what data shows.
So you don't just want the truth. You want how many truths? How many truths do you want? I mean, Furkan, there's one truth. The future, there's a way it's going to be. And you can tell a funny story about hobbits and dragons and whatever you want. That could be your future, but they're not going to be in the future. We know what's in the future, or at least we can predict it with certainty. And it's like, I mean, you're just selling some kind of madness if you think, well, we can just sit around and imagine the future and blah, blah, blah. We could be a wonderful time. You can do that, and maybe you can get stoned too. But if you want to know what the future is, you've got to look at the serious forecasting.
Well, when I say imagining animal instead of rational animal, I don't mean we're just gonna imagine fictional scenarios about the future. Obviously, we will look at what's going on in the world, what is the trajectories, and we will maybe give them credences, points, and we're gonna say that this is more possible, this is less possible. But what I try to mean here is that as imagining animal, we have the power to do the otherwise than what data shows us. We don't have to follow the data, If data shows that there will be more poor people in the world in the upcoming 30, 40 years, imagining animal can say that might be the case, but we can change it.
Okay, well this sounds almost inspiring. And maybe it's because I'm older than you that I'm thinking, you can't change you can't change truth. You can't say, well, I don't like the truth. But I like what you're saying. I like the hope. I hope it's true, because the idea that sort of the future is just cold hard numbers crunched by machines, and where the machines will just tell us exactly what we should do. I mean, it sounds like it's a holiday, but I know that for some people it won't be a holiday. It's just basically, you'll be doing hospo for the rest of your life. So maybe we should leave it there, and that would be a great point to so who's right, me or Furkan? Should we use our imaginations, or should we use our reason?
Predict the future.
And to predict the future, and to know what's going to happen, or just think, the future's uncertain, and we have to try to imagine the many ways in which it can be. Okay.